Hi, it's Amelie. Today, people asked me to practice Polonaise and Badinerie by Bach, and so that's what we're gonna do for the just practicing segment. I'm just gonna start by playing a few notes because I didn't warm up, so. Okay. Okay. So I will start, and if you have any question about that piece, you can ask the questions, and I will answer them right away. If you have other more general questions, I will answer them at the end. So I'll start with the Polonaise. Well, just so for people who didn't ask for it and maybe don't know what it's from the Suite No.2 by Johann Sebastian Bach, and yeah, it's the last two movements of the suite. So this first movement is slow. Okay, so for the first phrase, you have an appoggiature grace note, yeah, in the first bar. You could do it in two different ways. You can do it like this. Or personally, I prefer the second version, but it's both good. The only thing is not to do it too fast, you know, it's on the beat. It's not before the beat. So it's not like that. So it's really, it's as if this note becomes either a 8th note or a 16th note, but nothing shorter than that. And in Baroque music, because Bach is a Baroque composer, usually when you have a trill, you start with the upper note. So let's say you have a trill on a G, you have a trill on a F, you will start on the G. So the trill is F, G, F, G, you'll start with G. If you already played a G before, I'll give you an example in the first phrase, at the end of the first phrase, third and fourth bars. You hear it? You hear? Okay, I'm not very happy with my sound. I'll try to just sing this while I play. If you don't know how to sing and play at the same time, I made a video about that, so you can look at that later. Okay, I'll try to do this again. I think this time I'll slur everything. I'll just focus on the sound. Okay. You see that last trill here? You could, if you want to, you could do the E, D like this, and then instead of doing the C sharp with your pinky, you can just leave those 3 fingers there. I don't see it. Okay, let's see. Here, I do E, D, and then C sharp with the 3 fingers of the right hand instead of like this. So then C sharp and D, there's only 2 fingers moving instead of, well, 8. So it's an economy of movement. It's good. And it sounds okay with that fingering. It's even a bit lower than if you use the pinky. Okay, now I'll try to play it as written. Is there any question? No?
No. Questions for the end of the questions for the end.
Okay. Do you think I should do the repeats? I think usually people do the first repeat, but not the second one. Am I mistaken?
I'm not sure. I think we should do, like, in performance, all repeats should be done, but
yeah.
In practice,
maybe in performance I would even play first time forte, second time piano to give it a little interesting color.
Yeah.
I know that Baroque instruments didn't play many dynamics, but I'm playing
Instead they did trills and all those.
Yeah, they added ornaments and stuff like that.
Ornament was the thing of the back then.
Yeah, and I guess they could also change the color, because let's say on a clavecin, a harpsichord.
Harpsichord, yeah.
You had multiple keyboards and it would have a different color, not a different dynamic, but so yeah. Oh, maybe I could add a little bit of ornaments in the second time. I'll check that.
People tended to do ornamentation or speed.
Oh yeah.
Because the recorder of the time, if you played louder, it would break. It would crack. Like there was.
Yeah, and it just couldn't do it. Couldn't play loud. Like it was one dynamic type of thing. Okay. I'm not sure it's in style, my.
It's a bit too long, I think. Like,
too long.
Like maybe.
I'm doing it too often.
Yeah, too often.
Just one, yeah. So maybe I do it like that. Really, in real life, I would listen to different versions and try to get inspired by those versions. I didn't have time for that yesterday or this morning, but I should, yeah. But I kind of like that. What did I do in the beginning? No.
That's good.
Simple like that.
Yeah, simpler is always best.
So I'll just write it down so I can remember.
Everyone's saying it reminds them of green sleeves.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Then second part. Ooh. Okay, I'll write down what I did just there. So here I think I added a trill. And here too. I think that's what I did. That's not too bad. Yeah. Just a little simple thing. Little scale thingy. I just play E, D, C sharp, B, A sharp. But really you can do what you want with it. You don't even have to add no, that's okay. Let's move on. Double. L'istesso tempo. L'istesso? Does it mean the same tempo? I think so, huh?
Yeah.
Dum, bum, 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 bum. Yeah, so it sounds way faster because it's 30-second notes and stuff like that. So yeah. I'm not happy with my sound. Let's do this again. Maybe like this. I'm just trying to find my sound this morning. Okay, here I think I would try to make the line come out, you know. Really, it's can also do the second time around is change some articulations. You don't have to necessarily change dynamic or change or add stuff, because like that's already pretty full. Like I don't think I would add anything, but maybe I would change it, the articulation. So first time maybe I would do more detached, and second time more slurred. I'll try that. You know, this would be my second time. Here it's interesting because it's modulating, you can hear it. So you have to do something, you know, to make it really clear that that G natural that's coming and surprising everyone. It's just kind of highlight it a little bit. Here it's really the bottom note that you want to focus on. There I'll add a little something. I feel like it. So let's do it. I just added a little extra note in bar 19. Now here, instead of slurring by 8, I'll slur by 4. Just different second time around. I don't think I would breathe there. It's written in my part, but because the A sharp, that's the dominant chord that wants to just go and resolve itself. So really I wouldn't breathe there. You have to just finish your cadence, I guess. Except if you want to make it sound like it's a how do you call those in English? Broken cadence, you know, when you stop on 5,
Yeah.
and then you,
Or
but
half cadence. Maybe?
half cadence, yeah. Oh yeah, that's but then you would have to stop everything. What's the orchestra doing there? I don't think it's logical.
I don't think it's doing anything.
No, if it's not, then you could do it. Might be interesting. Where is it? 21. No, it's doing stuff.
No, it's doing stuff, I guess.
Yeah, so I wouldn't do that because you would have to stop the full orchestra and start again. I would just finish my cadence and breathe after, you know. In general, don't stop a phrase before it's over. And phrases very often they end on the first beat of a bar. So maybe you play the first note and then breathe. So throughout that piece, it's pretty much what I would do. First movement, it's easy because you have a lot of spots where you go ta ta dum bum ba da da dum ta dum bum. All those spots, just when you have a dotted 8 with a 16th, just after the dotted 8, you shorten it a little bit, you breathe there. That's pretty easy, and you have half notes where you can breathe as well. Second movement, I would really try to finish what I started before breathing. Like I'll do the second part, like second time around, and I'll breathe in the spots that I think are right. Here, I think I would take a small one where I go. So, yeah. So sometimes usually when I have 4 16th notes, I take a breath after the first one, where it's a good choice, you know. Like here at 24, I can go just after the F sharp there. And there's a lot of spots like that you can choose. So like at 20, after the 30 seconds, you go. You know, so those are good spots. And then for those 30 seconds, if you have difficulties with it, I would practice it as a technique, you know, a technique exercise, like. I practice them how do you say that? In and out, you know, like I play it as written, and then I play it backwards, as written, backwards. And you can play it with rhythms like this. And then. And, you know, sometimes slowly, and then you increase the metronome gradually, all those things. And try to focus when you practice on the stuff that is difficult. What you already play well, you don't need to put as much time on, and figure out what is a bit more tricky and put your energy on those parts. Okay, so I guess that's okay with people, that part. So now the minuet. So I think that's about. Yeah, that's what I thought. Here you see on the second bar you have grace note again. That's an appoggiature. So you need to make it long. So you can either do a quarter note or 8th note, or you can even do a half note there. I think I'll try all of them and I'll choose what's best for me. And then. I would say first or second. What did you prefer? Did you prefer da da dum bum bum ba dum or da da dum bum bum ba dum?
Second one's good.
Second one is good because it kind of keeps the rhythm of the 8 notes from the beginning. I think I'll do that. So I'll do every time that thing comes back in the piece, I'll do a 8 note. So a minuet, it's in 3 and it's a dance, and the first beat is important. It's you know, it's like for a waltz, or so it's like 1 2 3, but the third beat is also important because it's going to the first. So it's da da dum bum bum ba dum dum bum ya da dee dum da dum bum 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 ba da. You see, there's something going on there too. So it's not the same energy. It's going towards something. So I'll play it.
A lot of people like the second one. That's what they said.
Yeah, it's nice like that. You see here, I do the same little thing with the trill and the C sharp, D, C sharp. As I explained in the beginning, I do the same thing. Um, and here I try to visualize like it's going up, like da da dum bum bum, because it's ba da dum bum bum ba dum. Not something like, you see. There I'm not sure. Here I would play a quarter note though. So I won't do all of them the same.
Yeah, there's no need to do all of them all the
No.
time. You can do
Here
it
I'll
later
do
or
this
somewhere.
one and okay, and then maybe I can do that the second time.
Sure.
La si la sol, A B A G. A B A G. So second time. Oh, here I'll start a bit more soft, but I'll do like the second time a bit louder, so I can hear the steps, you know, going up. Here I'm gonna play it a bit soft too. I'll change the color there. Okay. Here I'll put it like, I'll draw a little sun, because I think at 17 it's, yeah, it's sunny. And then I'll change the color for something completely different at 21. No, not there. I kind of like it, but I don't know if it's in this style, but
It's fine. It's,
or with a little break just between the last two bars. Dee-dum, ba-dum, dum. You know, just a tiny fraction of a second after. So I'll put a break there. Da-da-da, yum, bum, bum, ba-da-da, yum, bum, bum, bum. That's not too bad. Da-da-dum, bum, bum, ba-dee-dum. Okay, and now and it's pretty okay for breathing in that minuet as well. You can breathe there. Yeah, it's not a big problem. You have long notes and then phrases like the first 4 bars. At the end of the first 4 bars, you can breathe there just before the 5th bar in between. So yeah, that's not too much of a problem. There's no question about that anyways. Okay. So let's go on. Badinerie, which is what everyone really wanted, I think. Okay, so that's fast.
People are wondering how you would practice it before getting that fast.
Okay. Well, first, I would practice it slowly, probably with a metronome, you know. Now I can learn things faster than when I was younger because, you know, when you know all your scales, arpeggios, scales and thirds, you know, I would say 90% of what's in tonal music. Tonal music, it's all the music that's not atonal. So it's pretty much back to Wagner, you know. You get all that music, 90% of what's written is scales, arpeggios, scales and thirds. You know, maybe I'm exaggerating, but then when you look at music, you group elements. Like Badinerie, what I see is B minor arpeggio in the beginning. It's really... The first 3 bars, it's just an arpeggio. So first 3 bars, if you know your B minor arpeggio. So because I know those things now, I learn faster than when I was younger and I didn't know them as well and I couldn't see them as fast, you know. But if I had a student learning that, maybe on that week I would say, let's practice the B minor arpeggio because you have a lot of those. And then in the second part at 17, you have F minor arpeggio. So we would practice this one as well. And you can practice your arpeggios broken, like, you know, it's not just practicing your arpeggios, but really, there's different ways to practice them. I should make some videos about that. Because in pieces, sometimes they are broken, but they're still there. And trying to analyze what's going on a little bit can help because it's less elements for your brain to manage. Because if you see 4 bars as being one thing instead of being I don't know how many notes, your brain has way less work to do. So yeah. But let's say I'll practice it as if I was younger and I didn't know all those things. I would probably start by practicing it with the metronome and put a beat per 8th note. I wouldn't start counting it per quarter note. I would start per 8th note. So I would go probably half time, bum, 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 bum. Because it's better to start very slowly and not learn mistakes. Because if you learn a mistake the first time you play it, it's funny. You know, your brain kind of learns it that way and then it's tough to get rid of it. So I don't know if that answers the question, but I'll do it all at this tempo. And plus I wouldn't learn maybe the whole thing right away. Maybe I would learn one day the first part, another day the second part very slowly and then increase the speed as I go, you know. Oh, and very important, even if I can, at that speed, I can single tongue with no, like it's very easy to single tongue at that speed, but I still use double tonguing because when I'll play it fast, I'll use double tonguing, so it's better to get used to double tonguing this right away. So I'll go from where I was. at 100 per 8 note right now. And you see, like at 11, it's a bit more tricky. Maybe also sometimes what I use is I use different tonguings. So maybe I would slur by 2 there at 11. You see? And as I said before, using different rhythms, and sometimes also I just play one beat as fast as I can, and then I just look at the next one. I play it like I'll do the same thing here. Because that also allows me to group elements. So I group a whole beat. I look at it, I play it as fast as I can. A whole beat plus one note, you know? And then I go from that other beat that I played the first note of. I look at it, I play it as fast as I can. Next one. And then I can do 2 beats at a time like this. Because my brain can group more things at once. I'll do this one again. And then maybe I'll group the other 2 because, you know, just to, so the first one will be alone. And then a whole bar. That's stuff on the sound. So I have to think about getting not being tensed on that F sharp, you know, letting things go so it can just get out by itself. Sometimes when we push too hard, when we want too much, doesn't work, you know, just letting it resonate is better in this case. And you see, I didn't tongue anything because I'm just working on the fingers right now. And then maybe I'll put the metronome again and I'll practice it with the tonguing. So that's a way you could practice it, you know. You can also go by very little parts, one phrase at a time. And when you're tired, you stop because you don't want to learn a mistake. So you stop, you write down where you were. Okay, I did 3 lines today, and then next time you go from there. Don't always practice the stuff you already know because then you're not going to progress as much. So maybe I play it.
Play through it?
I play through it now. You see here in my part, that's not written, but I'll add the tida tida. I'll slur by 2, the C sharp B. Then I continue. And here it's really, that's what you want to hear. That's what you know. What I would say, in those things, it has to sound like it's going somewhere, not that boring. All the same, you know. So I try to do. You know, I start a bit piano, a bit soft, and then I do a little crescendo in there. And then I, you know, you have this long trait. Do you say a trait? Like this long phrase, I would say, yeah. Where you can't really breathe. So I start piano, because you use way less air when you play piano. So, yeah, that's it. Also, when you play detached, you use less air than when you play slurred a little bit. So, yeah. Would I do it different the second time? I don't know. No. I added little things.
Yeah.
I thought were nice. I think I just did one.
Yeah.
Nah, that makes it a bit. Yeah.
Very Vivaldi.
Yeah, second time around, you know, mix things up. And here I added a little trill on the bar 4. Just a little mordant, you say in French, when you just do one. Just that. And when it's a mordant, you don't have to start from the top note. You can start from that note. So second part now. So here I think it's interesting to change the color when you get that C natural, right? A bit more piano, because it's surprising there. You see, you wouldn't expect that. Maybe, but now you expect it because you know the piece, but really there's something there, so I would change. And you have all that chromaticism there. So there's tension, you know? And all those taha, when you have like ED, FE, I slur them by 2 all the time, those things. It's easier. I'll do from the second part again. No, sorry. Not bad. I won't add stuff there. First time, you have to make it 2 8 notes because you have to start again. You don't want to add a beat to the bar, so you have to go. So it goes dun dun dun, 1 and 2 and then 1 and dun 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 right away. But the second time, when you really end the piece, it's dum bum ba da da di da yum. You can slow it down a little bit. Yeah, what did I do there? I did. I like that. So I tongue the D. I don't slur it. I tongue it and then I do a little a part of a E minor scale, you know, from the I do D sharp, E, F sharp, G, A. Same principle there on 29 and 31. And I'll slur by 2 the last 2 because I think it gives a little bit of gravitas, you know, to end. And also, there's a big controversy about vibrato in Baroque music because vibrato was not really used in with the Baroque flute. It was used sometimes, but as an ornament, really. So let's say it was a wide and slow vibrato that they would use as an ornament, like something more like that, you know, but they wouldn't use it all the time. So some people, I used to really force myself not to vibrate, and I was putting so much effort and energy into that. It was affecting how I played Baroque music. So now I don't try to vibrate on purpose, if you may say, but if it comes, I let it go, you know. And the very famous cellist Rostropovich, who he recorded the Bach suites for solo cello, and he did play them in a very Baroque way. And he was interviewed. The person said, "What about, you know, people who say you don't play it in style? You play it your way. You don't play it the Baroque way." And he said, "We don't know exactly what the composer wanted. Maybe what the composer heard in his head, maybe the cello of the time or maybe that instrument was not able to give it to him." He said once he was playing, I think a Shostakovich concerto, and the French horn was not able to play a phrase that Shostakovich had written, and he told him, "Will they ever invent a horn that can play that phrase the way I want it?" And he said, "What if they did invent one, and then people would say, no, let's use the horn that was in use at Shostakovich's time because it's really what's in style." You know what I mean? He said, really, we don't know. Maybe he would prefer it played the way I play it, you know? So in the end, no one knows. So just maybe not feel too complex about it, and be creative with it and have fun. But it's of course it's not romantic music, and it's not meant to be played like it's not. It wouldn't be in style. But maybe we don't need to make such a big deal out of it either. You know, finding a balance between those two things, vibrating, not vibrating. You can even do it if you feel like it in a piece and you want to use vibrato as a little, when you play Baroque music and you want to use vibrato as an ornament, you could do it, you know. But maybe just once, or maybe you'll do a No, not like that. I don't think in that piece it's really appropriate anywhere. I don't see a good place to use it, but if you listen to some Baroque players, you might hear it in some places that they use vibrato like that. So that's just my little part on vibrato. Was there any question?
Yeah, some general questions now.
So I hope this was helpful, and if you have any more comments about that piece, just put them in, and yeah.
Yeah, if you want to also have a lesson with you about that piece.
Yeah, if you want to have a lesson about that piece or another piece, I give Skype lessons, and we will start a group soon.
Yeah.
We're still figuring out the technical aspect of it,
exactly.
but we'll have online group lessons that I think are very promising, might be very interesting. And
everybody play together.
Yeah, and for Skype lessons, it can be a one-time thing. It can be every week, every month, it's very... If you have a audition and you want, a half hour before an audition just to look at little things fast or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
The bad oboist wants to know, what do you do before an audition to play your best? Like get over nerves, or what do you tell yourself if you do that?
Okay. I try to focus on precise things, like the notes I'm reading, breathing, all those things. But before a performance, I try to stop my inner voice when it says things I don't want it to say. I think I've talked about the monkey brain once. The monkey brain, it's what Buddhists call, like I've heard Buddhists call that the monkey brain. It's your little voice that goes, you're not able, you'll never be good enough. Oh, people are judging you. Oh, your dress doesn't look good, or your pants are not well pressed, or whatever, And you want to be able to shut your monkey brain up, be like, shut up, go away. That's the first thing. And then I try to use, when I talk to myself, I try to say things in a positive way. What I mean by that is, I don't tell myself not to be nervous, because your subconscious cannot understand the negation. So if I tell you, don't see a pink elephant with green dots. In your mind, you see a pink elephant with green dots, and you see maybe an X on it, but you still see it. So I don't tell myself, don't be nervous, don't be stressed, don't feel inadequate. I tell myself, be calm, you're good, you can do this. Things that are, because I don't want to program my brain to be nervous, to feel inadequate, all those things. So that's something I try to do. And when really it's a bit difficult for me, a thing I do is I imagine I'm someone else. So when I feel that when I feel inadequate, basically that's what I do. I'm a bit like an actress, and I imagine that I'm someone I admire that has a lot of self-confidence, and I just go, and it's not even me there anymore. So, yeah.
Okay. Elena wants to know, how often do you practice? I love your videos and would like to become as good as you. Well, how did you practice when you were young? That's pretty.
Yeah, it's more how I practiced when I was young. Now I don't have as much time.
You're so busy.
Yeah, I teach a lot, but I learn faster than when I was younger because I have more skills. But I practiced pretty much every day, and I practiced, depending on the age, when I was in high school, an hour a day, and pre-university, 2-3 hours, and then 3 to 5 hours when I was doing my bachelor's and master's. I think 3 hours is enough, more than 3 hours, but now I also do think that it's not just about how much time you practice, it's about being focused when you do it and practicing the right things. If you just play over and over the stuff you already are good at, that's fun, but that's not making you better as fast. So if you really want to be efficient, you want to figure out what you have to work on to get better, and not just play the stuff that's already easy for you. So I would say that, but it's good to be consistent and to be organized in your practice. So you do progress. So learning your skills and your studies are interesting because they build you a lot, because everything is in there: articulation, phrasing, some technique, and they're in different keys as well. So you learn from that. But
an article about that, about how to make a practice session.
Yeah, it's cool. Try to be organized in your practice, and practice 6 times a week, 5 to 6 times a week. It's good if you can, Take a day off though, 5 to 6 times a week. And I don't know, it all depends. When I teach, I try to go with what the students can do. I'm not going to tell them practice 3 hours a day if, I don't know how much time you have. I don't know what your goals are, but it takes time to program all those fingerings and everything. So, yeah.
Yeah,
that were the questions, yeah?
About breathing, but just general breathing tips on how to breathe.
Okay, how to breathe. Well, first thing, sometimes, maybe I would just say that sometimes we think we have to breathe very fast. And when we want to breathe very fast, we tend to close our throat. So we do, and then there's no air coming in. It's a big, life is like that very often. When you really want something too much, you tend to block it, Like, I want to breathe fast. And then, so just take your time a little bit more. When you breathe in, think slow and then fast. Like you're breathing in a accelerando type of thing. So you go, but if you start fast, you will block your throat. So that's what I would say. If you try to do it too fast, it won't work. It won't be faster. And it's just, it won't be as efficient. And also sometimes we try to hide our breathing so much. And when you can't beat it, just join it in a way. Like if you can't hide it, if you're in a piece where it's like, especially if it's a solo piece, maybe hide it in plain sight, in the sense that make it part of the music, Make a retardando and then go to the note. Like, let's say I play this. You see? I took... And I didn't try to hide it. I just went da 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 da. It's nicer than if I went and I tried to go so fast. And so yeah, just assume that you have to, just don't be shy. You have to breathe. It's part of life. Yeah. So I hope this was helpful. If you want to join us on Patreon, we have a Patreon page. I think there's a link, and there's a lot of different things you can do to help us, and we have things to offer you as well. If you want to take private lessons, there are Skype lessons, and there's a book coming up soon, a series that we have to finish designing, and I hope this was helpful. Please leave comments and questions in the comment box. If you like the video, please like it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and see you next time.